And before coming to Hong Kong in April this year, I was spending most of my time in Beijing and in Shanghai, and prior to that, San Jose. So today we're going to talk about trends in the future, technology, directions the market is going. I think one thing we can all say very safely now is that trends and change are picking up pace. Just to give you an example, one device many of you are carrying around is the iPad. And 1 year ago, in 2009, nobody had really thought of this device. Nobody had thought it would sell 3 million devices within the first 3 months of launch. So the pace of change is really picking up quickly. And I think it's safe for all of us to say that this trend is going to continue, and it's going to, if anything, it's going to increase in speed, okay? And we've seen new devices, like the iPhone 4, which sold 3 million within 1 month. So who knows what it's going to be like over the next year. So using that as a segue, I'd like to introduce you to our panel. I'd like to ask each of them to do a quick introduction, and then we'll dive into our topics.
Hi, I'm Patrick. I'm the CEO of Alive Not Dead. Alive Not Dead is an online community for artists and their fans. Artists can basically get on, they can blog and connect with their fans, and we essentially monetize it through advertising, through events, through merchandise and other means. Artists on our site are within film, music, fashion, sports, lots of different areas, and we're based here in Hong Kong. But we have artists around the world, and we have users around the world. Prior to that, I was doing a company in the US called Rotten Tomatoes. It's a movie review website, and we eventually sold that to IGN, which sold to News Corp, and then they resold Rotten Tomatoes to Flickster, so now we're with Flickster. And prior to that, I was doing a design firm, also in the Bay Area, primarily doing interactive design for the entertainment industry.
Hi, I'm Ken. So I used to work in Google like 10 years ago, and one of the early guys, and I quit about 5 years ago. And I started a company called the Mother App, which enables you to build a lot of mobile apps on different platforms. So for example, OpenRise is using Mother App to build their iPhone apps, and actually they don't even have a Mac in their office, and they just know to do the web stuff. But then we can turn their web stuff into iPhone apps, and and the apps on all the other platforms as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Andy Cheung. I'm from Microsoft, and my title is called Architect Evangelist. So my day-to-day job is to go to our partners, developers, or enterprises in Hong Kong and also Macau, and to talk with them about the roadmap of Microsoft technologies, and also if they want to build some kind of things, how will I do it? Using some of the building blocks so they do not need to start from the ground up, for example. So in this year, I'm actually focusing on basically 2 things. One of them is cloud computing, and Microsoft has heavy investment in that. And another one is the phone industry. So Microsoft is launching a new mobile phone called Windows Phone 7, and I'm also a very core member in Microsoft Hong Kong to drive the adoption of that platform. And before I joined Microsoft like 5 years ago, I was the architect for CenterMap.com, so you may have heard of that, 中原地圖. So I actually worked on that for over like 8 years. So starting from the tendering process to get a digital map, I was already there. And I actually built the whole website and together with my team. So that is a bit of my background.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I guess this year the big overwhelming trend is towards mobile. With the iPad, iPhone, Android, and of course Windows Mobile is going to be coming up, entering this space very quickly. And I'd like to ask each of you is, perhaps starting with Patrick, you've got a community which is serving artists. How does going mobile affect the community you're working with?
Well, what you've been seeing these days with artists and going mobile is Twitter. Essentially, Twitter's been getting a lot of press lately because all the entertainment industry, sports, NBA, all those guys, they're all using Twitter all the time now. So definitely, I think that's one trend that has been going quite strong. I think in that case with them, the thing is basically they can microblog. So they can essentially, instead of sitting down and writing like full-on blogs with photos and everything, they can just type out whatever 140 characters, just whatever thoughts they have, and immediately all their fans or their followers can get that information. So I think they are having a big effect in the space, and then you're seeing essentially Twitter clones in China and elsewhere. In China, I think Weibo is very big, and that's kind of the direction they're moving.
Same questions?
Same question. Yeah, what do you see about mobile? How's it affecting how people are?
Yeah, I think Twitter is more like they are born between GPS and stuff like that get really popular. And so, you have Facebook, you have Twitter, but now mobile is another medium. And, they know where you are, that kind of stuff. And would there be a new kind of company that is born, social networking, that is born in this medium, like Foursquare, for example, which could not be done before. And so this is where I guess social networking is doing. And if you are working on a social networking startup on the mobile area, I mean, it's very hard for you to compete directly with Twitter and Facebook. And so mobile is the next medium, and you can try to think of, how can you really make use of that medium to create something that could not be done before.
For the trend of mobile is actually becoming more and more important amongst the consumers and among the users. One of the things that I can see is that the user experience for our end users is absolutely important. It's becoming even more important. Now think about mobile phones or the mobile device, several years ago compared to now. Now Apple actually have done a fantastic job on that, on the user interface. But when we are thinking along that line, as we're all startups here, right? So when we are thinking about the new innovations on the mobile space, there actually is all about how to get the information to our end user at the right place at the right time, right? Now think about everyone is using Facebook, using Twitter. Does your mobile phone or is there an application that allow us to present the latest Twitter tweet, okay, or the Facebook status when we are dialing to my wife? Now, for example, hey, when I'm dialing to my wife, but it pops out that, oh, I was just grilled by my boss. Okay, you're going to talk differently to your wife, right? So the fact that this kind of information being available to our user at the correct time, at the correct place, is absolutely important, becoming more and more important. But that is just one of the, discussion among user experience. And I think in many of the different platforms, we're actually going along that way, right?
Okay.